Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD and GBPUSD and come up with trade ideas for the day if there are any. So let's jump right into it. Looking at Forex Factory. Today's a Thursday. We only have unemployment claims, so we don't have any other high impact news. And then, of course, tomorrow is a big one where we have NFP. So let's look at the charts, have a look at what transpired yesterday and what we can expect today. So as we can see from the daily on the Euro USD, we've had this bullish push. We broke structure to the upside, and now this has been a pullback, and the pullback is continuing. And then we've been eliminating all these areas of demand along the way. And then we've come to this demand area that was unmitigated, that was fresh, and we've had a decent reaction. And yesterday I did manage to catch a long trade from there, and then of course now it looks like it's continuing bearish. Sorry, this is the British pound, not the Euro USD. Duplicated my charts. Okay, so this is on the GBPUSD. So we did mitigate this demand, and then we've had a reaction. Okay, and now price still looks like it wants to continue down. So price could react, or price could switch back to being bullish from any of these POIs that are in discounts. Okay, so we do have this one where price is reacting from, and we have this one which is at the extreme. Okay, so anyway, between this area, price could switch. If this fails, then price could continue bullish, unless it decides to completely switch bearish. Okay, and we switch trend, but we remain bullish from a swing perspective. All right, understanding that this is our range, this is our swing range, and within that range right now we are in the pullback, and price is going to continue pulling back until it meets an area of demand that will overpower the selling pressure. Okay, so that's it for the pound. And then looking at the Euro USD, it's the same thing. We had a strong push up. All right, obviously our swing range is bullish, and then after a break of structure we expect price to pull back. So we're in this pullback phase, and supply areas are being respected on the daily, and we see demand areas being eliminated. Okay, so now we've broken this internal daily internal low, okay, which was a strong low, okay, which was a strong low because it led to the break of structure. But now that has been violated, so our internal trend is now shifted bearish. Okay, so now we have a situation where the daily swing is bullish, and the internal is switching bearish. Okay, so as of now it's not fully bearish, okay, according to the rules I follow. All right, because I would expect a break of structure. All right, a complete break and close. Okay, so it could happen, it could not. All right, but just good to be aware. So what's happening now is price did come down, mitigate this fresh level of demand after sweeping these lows. Okay, we had a strong reaction, and then we had a bit of a pullback yesterday, and now price looks to be continuing bearish. Right, so let's look at the 4-hour on the Euro USD. So in the grand scheme of things, all right, in the grand scheme of things, this is what we have. Our swing is bullish. This was our lowest swing point. All right, so this is our swing range. All right, on our 4-hour chart. And then we're having all these internal breaks of structure. Okay, internal breaks of structure, shifted from bullish to bearish, bullish, and then eventually now we've switched it, we've shifted bearish. Okay, so focusing on the current range. Okay, focusing on the current range, this is what we have. So this becomes our strong internal high, and then this current leg is where we have our current weak internal low. Okay, so obviously we're seeing supply being respected and then demand being eliminated. Okay, so there's a lot of selling pressure at the moment. So we do have this area of interest. We do have another area of supply right over there. So price could pull up, right, give a pullback and react from these areas. So let's see if I mark that out. Then this one is at the extreme. This one is at the extreme. But these ones, right, so we do have a resting liquidity up there. So at any point, if the market then decides to go bullish, all right, we are likely to take out all these areas because we are creating liquidity, engineering liquidity, and just leaving it. Okay, so in the meantime, we do follow what the market is doing currently. So currently we're bearish, so that means we should be looking for shorts. Okay, we should be looking for shorts. So this is what we have now. We have this structure low right there, so that could be a target. Let's see, so that could be a target before we continue bullish, or at least have some kind of reaction. So after a break of structure, alright, so we've had a break of structure, we do expect some kind of pullback. Okay, so price could come back to this area before continuing bearish, or it could push up to this area. Okay, you have a reaction and then start coming up. So let's look at the details on the 15-minute. So on 15-minute, this is what we have. So this is my swing range. Okay, this is my swing range all the way up here. And this is my swing low. Right, so this is the range we're playing within. Now price did give a reaction. Okay, did give a reaction. Internal shifted bullish. Okay, so that means this is my internal trend. Okay, so let me mark this out so that it's clear for you guys. So internal 15 IBOS, then I can remove that, and then this is the low that led to the break. So that's my 15M internal strong low. Okay, and this is what I have. That's my internal strong low. So the expectation is if the internal trend is to continue bullish, then this low should be respected. Okay, this low should be respected. However, this is also Asia lows. Okay, so we have Asia low, and then we probably build up this kind of trend line. and during Asia, prices just melted. Okay, prices just melted. So it is likely that we could breach this low. Okay, we could breach this low for having some kind of reaction bullish, or we might continue all the way down to mitigate this area of demand at extreme. Okay, which is still fresh. That area which is still fresh. So what do we have here? So obviously you can see price has kind of liquidated that. 15M. Okay, so that's been liquidated, and then that's been the fuel for price to push down strongly. And then we got our trend line here as well. Okay, so that's a sweep, and then we had a strong push down. We have this area that's still being respected at the moment. So what can we look for? What can we look for? So clearly we are internally, okay, so swing perspective, we are bearish. Internally we are bullish. Okay, internally we are bullish. So I will be focusing possibly on following the internal trend. Okay, if I get anything on my entry time frames that is supporting that price will continue bullish. So expectation would be if price maybe comes up, reacts from this, then makes a low, okay, and then possibly maybe takes out this low, okay, and then we have a reaction, right? We have a bullish break of structure. Then I might be looking to take this until Asia high, okay, or even maybe until all of that. Because when you look left, really there's no clear areas that could hinder price. Okay, maybe up until up there. Okay, so it is possible that price could push up in this manner. Of course, another way would be for price to just maybe come up, react, sweep these areas, all right, come down, you know, completely take out these areas. Okay, then maybe if it takes out these areas, then might look for a quick reaction again, bullish. All right, so in the meantime, so if this is a possibility, right, so could look for shorts, you know, within this area. All right, that's if price starts by coming up here. Okay, then I could look for short, maybe just targeting that or that, understanding that we're following the swing trend. Okay, the swing trend. So those are kind of my ideas. Obviously we have to wait and see how price develops, and then that will kind of guide me in terms of what to actually look for and what to actually trade. So that's kind of my idea for the Euro USD. So let's have a look at the pound. Coming back to the 4 hour. All right, try to make this quick. So for the 4 hour, all right, clearly we are bearish. All right, this is the range we're in. On the 4 hour, we have mitigated this daily demand, and we've had a reaction, mitigated this for our supply, and we've also had a reaction. Okay. We've had a reaction. So now let's jump into the 15-minute. On the 15-minute, let's see, this is what we have. Okay, so looking at it now, I could consider this a sizable pullback. Alright, so I'll put my swing range to be there. On that high. So I have my swing range. And then this becomes where my current swing low is on. Okay, this is where my current swing low is at the moment. So what that means is I'm going to let's see. So at the moment we're going to alright, so obviously we had a break of structure down there, internal, and then internally we've shifted bullish, and then this is our high, and then this is our low that's still being respected at the moment. Okay, so this is what we have. So I'm going to mark that. That's my 15M strong internal. Okay, that's what we have. And obviously this is where we had our break of structure. About 15 IPOS. Okay, so currently that becomes my week. My week. Internal week. All right. So swing structure is bearish. All right, so we should be following swing structure. Price has pulled back into the extreme. Okay, pretty much. So now the price is kind of shifting bearish. Expectation is that price will continue bearish all the way. So for the pound, I think this one is a bit more clearer. This one, the expectation is to go short. Okay, so did we sweep these areas? Did we sweep that high? Yes, we did. All right, so we've just had a sweep of that. Okay, and then substructure we've broken bearish. Okay, from a substructure we are bearish. So substructure we are bearish. So the focus is this is going to be shorts all the way. Okay, this is going to be shorts. So the expectation would be maybe for price to come up, maybe sweep these areas, come up, test this area, maybe do another sweep, and then look for confirmation and then target these relatively equal lows, Asia lows. Of course, we do have this area of demand, but this is buying in a downtrend. Okay, at the bottom. So we're gonna be continuing bullish. That's what continuing bearish. That's what I'll be looking for. All right. So that looks like a high probable trade. Okay. Yes, it's counter internal, but it's pro swing. So the expectation is that swing trend or swing structure is stronger than internal structure. Okay. So once we've mitigated the extreme, right, as we have, right, we've come up to this extreme, right, mitigated that area. So expectation, everything else is filled up. So everything else is filled up. So the expectation is that price will continue bearish and that will continue to go down. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. So this is what I'm looking to see for today. So please, if you find value in this material, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment letting me know how you're applying this in your trading. So have a good day, and working trader out.